So Donald Trump gives a speech about Afghanistan and says that we're basically going to increase the amount of troops that are there. He makes it a little bit more vague, but then they leak that there's going to be 3,900 extra troops, so we know exactly what's going to happen. So then the next question is, how do the Republicans react? Well, for some of the warmongers inside the Republican establishment, they are ecstatic. So of course, leader of that bunch is John McCain. He says it's, quote, a big step in the right direction. Yes, more war, okay? So he's excited for it. There isn't a war that McCain hasn't wanted to make out with. So for all of his criticism of Trump in other areas, if Trump says more war, then McCain can't applaud vigorously enough. He goes on to say, it is especially important that the newly announced strategy gives no timeline for withdrawal. In other words, this is better than just war. This is endless war. No timeline for an exit ever. We've been there for 16 years and he wants to stay as long as possible. And one more, he says, now he's conducting himself as a wartime commander-in-chief. So for all these establishment guys who couldn't stand Trump and rightfully criticize him on other issues, the minute that he's making more money for the defense contractors, all of a sudden they're on his side. Which brings us to Lindsey Graham. So Lindsey Graham's going to go on TV and, well, let's just say that he's incredibly excited about the prospect of endless war. Let's watch the first clip.
I think there'll be a lot of bipartisan support in Congress for this proposal. I'm proud, I'm relieved. I'm proud of the fact that President Trump made a national security decision, not a political decision. I'm proud of the fact that he listened to the generals. And most proud of the fact that he shows the will to stand up to radical Islam. And you know how I feel about hearing my commander-in-chief say that we're there to win, but I am very pleased with this plan and I am very proud of my president.
Gee, I couldn't tell. Are you proud? So I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud of him for listening to the generals and giving us more war. Yes, we couldn't win this war when we had 150,000 people in Afghanistan. But now he thinks, oh, with 12,000, oh, we're going to be winning. We're going to be winning. It's going to be great. We didn't win it in 16 years, but oh, just give us another 16 years and we'll turn it right around. He says, oh, I'm glad he didn't make a political decision. What does that mean? Every decision is a political decision. He's the president. He's a politician by definition. So this is just a political decision that you like. Part of what he means by that is the political thing to do would have been to appeal to more Americans. Yes, it's called a democracy. It would have been a more popular decision because both the left and the right want to leave because we're not as, well, not as stupid as you. To be fair to Lindsey Graham, he's not stupid. He knows where his bread gets buttered. I'm going to tell you about that in a second. All these guys are getting rich off of these wars and maintaining their power through these wars. But the rest of us can't stand it anymore. So that's not a political decision to agree with us. It's a democratic decision, but one that Trump did not make. Instead, he sided with the generals, the establishment, and the people who've been losing this war for 16 long, brutal years. So one more clip from Graham.
I'm willing to vote on it. I don't think we have to, but I will. We got to appropriate the money. I'm on the Appropriations Committee. I'm on the Armed Services Committee. I will fight Senator Paul tooth and nail to make sure that we don't lose in Afghanistan like we did in Iraq. It's just exactly what President Obama did in Iraq, was to leave against sound military advice. President Trump has the smarts and the moral courage to listen to his generals and take their advice rather than going the political way. And I'm so proud he did, because unlike Obama, President Trump is listening to his generals. And to my colleagues in Congress, you will own a no vote. The next 9/11 will be your fault, not President Trump's fault, if you shoot down this plan, because this is a solid plan. And to President Trump, you've shown the will to stand up to radical Islam, but my friend, they're going to come after us. They're going to try to break your will. Don't let them. Stick with it.
I'm doing all I can not to curse here. So the next 9/11 will be on you if you don't support these endless wars. Wait a minute. You want to go into Iraq, Lindsey Graham, you dumbass, you loser. And what happened in Iraq? Al-Qaeda wasn't in Iraq. Now all of a sudden we have ISIS in Iraq. Oh, it's like, it's because we left. No, it's because we went in the first place. They didn't attack us on 9/11. We went into a country that didn't attack us, and you created a monster worse than Al-Qaeda. That's not our fault, Lindsey Graham. That's your fault. That's on you. That's blood on your hands, Lindsey Graham. We told you not to go into Iraq, but you did. You stirred it up. And a decade later, you're like, oh, we shouldn't leave. We should stay there forever. Afghanistan, we shouldn't leave. We should stay there forever. We beat Al-Qaeda so badly in Afghanistan that over a decade ago, our government announced that there was less than 50 Al-Qaeda guys in the whole country. We wiped them out. But what did we do? Did we leave? No, we stayed and stayed and stayed until the Taliban took 60% of the country, until ISIS started entering Afghanistan from the mess we started in Iraq. And idiots like Lindsey Graham, actually again, not stupid, but greedy, horrible people, are now talking about, oh, we should have ripped up the deal with Iran. We should go to war with Iran. And then later he'll tell us we can't leave Iran. We can never leave Iran. We're always at war. We've always been at war. We're always going to stay at war. You guys are the ones that created this mess in the first place. He's attacking Rand Paul there for saying that we should leave, which is what a majority of the Americans want. To then turn around and say anybody who votes against perpetual war would have the next 9/11 on their hands? No, the incompetent moron in office right now is Donald Trump. If we get hit, it is 100% his fault because he doesn't do his homework. He doesn't want to be president. He just wants power and fame and money. And it would be your fault, Lindsey Graham, for starting the endless wars in the first place. So why does he do it? For greed. You probably don't remember this, but Lindsey Graham ran for president this time around. Yes, he was among the 17 clowns who ran for president, one of which became president. The other 16 were so embarrassing they got humiliated by Donald Trump, including Lindsey Graham. So when he was running though, he did get big support from one group. Let's find out. Let's go back to that time. Lee Fang, writing for The Intercept, points out at the time, Graham's super PAC, called Security is Strength, received $500,000 from billionaire Ron Perlman, whose company, McAndrews and Forbes, owns AM General, the manufacturer of Humvees and other products for the military. In December of last year, AM General won a $245.6 million contract with the Army. So, you want more war so you can make more money if you're a defense contractor. You're gonna make, in their case, just on that one contract, they make $245 million in revenue. So then when you give $500,000 to Lindsey Graham, boy, that is a wonderful investment on a guy who has no principles and will tell the country that, oh, if we're not giving hundreds of millions of dollars to my defense contractor donors, then we're gonna have the next 9/11. I'm gonna scare you. God, how many people did we lose in Iraq? We lost over 5,000 troops that you claim that you care about, Lindsey Graham, let alone the hundreds of thousands of civilians dead in Iraq and Afghanistan, but you don't care because Lindsey Graham is such a monster that when talking about North Korea, he said it's okay if we start a war with North Korea, at least they'll die over there. Having no care at all about civilians in South Korea, Japan, let alone North Korea itself, those people don't deserve that. They're being led by a monstrous dictator. They don't deserve death. But Lindsey Graham doesn't care as long as he's got that check coming in from defense contractors. And he was at least honest enough at the time to say this: if I were a defense contractor, I'd be big time for Lindsey Graham because I've been forward leaning on rebuilding our military. Yeah, well, they're already giving you the money, but you don't have to be that brazen about it. But he can't help himself. Now, if you're a defense contractor, remember, the person to buy is me. I'll be your prostitute. And that's what Lindsey Graham is. Have no other thought about Lindsey Graham, okay? That is exactly who he is. So if you got money for Lindsey Graham, he's willing to shill for all of your wars and all the deaths that result from it. He's monstrous. Now we go to our defense secretary, which our establishment loves, Jim Mattis. Now, yes, he's more sane than Donald Trump. He's more stable than Donald Trump and is somewhat of a stabilizing influence. But if you think that Jim Mattis, oh, Mad Dog, is a good guy and who's just genuinely in favor of wars and he wants more expansion in Afghanistan, he thinks he'll be 4,000 more troops and we'll win. Preposterous, insane. The only way you can believe that is if you're paid to believe it. Well, as it turns out, he is. So this is Michael Tracy reporting for TYT. He explains in a recent article we just put up, prior to joining the Trump administration, Mattis, to whom much of the Afghanistan decision-making was reportedly outsourced, was, quote, an independent director for General Dynamics, the massive military contractor juggernaut. It's funny how this revolving door works. He's a general, then he goes and gets paid a lot of money by defense contractors, then he goes back into government as the defense secretary, and guess what he wants? More war to get more money for those same defense contractors. What a wonderful little circle they set up for themselves as the rest of us die. Mattis was paid $594,000 by the company between 2013 and 2016 and accrued at least $900,000 worth of stock. Well, at least he got paid for his services. All right, Michael continues to explain, during the years Mattis served in the independent director capacity, General Dynamics was flush with federal contracts for the provision of resources related to, oh, look at that, Afghanistan. For example, in June 2015, the company boasted of a $216 million order from the US Army for what it calls its Warfighter Information Network System, which it declared had successfully served Army units in Afghanistan. And I am sure that they will get re-upped now. Hey, look at that. Lindsey Graham's donors got a couple $100 million. James Mattis's former employers who gave him millions of dollars overall will get a couple of $100 million because we got more war in Afghanistan. But I'm sure that didn't affect their decision making at all. The people on TV, they tell me that they are honorable gentlemen, that these establishment folks would never lead us astray, and their own financial interests, no, they would never take them into account. Tracy ends by saying, at present writing, the General Dynamics stock price is ticking up in the wake of Trump's announcement. Well, I bet it is. All the defense contractors ecstatic that we'll have more senseless war and all the treasure that'll be wasted, all taxpayer dollars, let alone our troops there, let alone the civilians. So this monstrosity will continue, and the left doesn't want it, the right doesn't want it. The only people in the country who want it are the people making money off of it. And unfortunately, in the incredibly corrupt system that we have today, that's exactly what will happen. They'll continue to make money as the rest of us suffer. Help us build independent media together. Come join us, tytnetwork.com/join.